Hi again, Gregg Bell, the News Tribune at the Seahawks headquarters, day 4 of training camp practice. Once again, another newsy day at the Seahawks. The first one is about Malik McDowell, the top rookie draft pick defensive tackle, reported to camp. The Seahawks put him on the active roster, but with a non-football injury list designation. What that means is that if they determine, the Seahawks doctors and medical staff determine that he's not ready to play for the regular season, they could put him on a reserve NFI list. He would not count against the roster, somewhat like injured reserve, except that at NFI list you can take some players' money for the reason he's injured. Not that the Seahawks would do that, but they would have the option compared to being on injured reserve. That's if they think he can't play at all this season. No one's saying that yet. Pete Carroll, no specifics afterwards about, one, the nature of the injuries. Carroll wouldn't even admit it was an ATV accident, although it was confirmed to me from people who know his situation in Michigan that it was an ATV accident. Carroll also didn't get into specifics on how long McDowell will be out, but it sounds ominous. Michael Bennett, a fellow defensive lineman, said that at this point it's not about football, that he's worried about McDowell's longevity and his long-term well-being, and that his brain is good. Talked about possible, well, he mentioned, Bennett did, the word concussion, hoping that he did not have a long-term effects from a concussion. Pete Carroll, when asked whether he thought that McDowell would be ready for the beginning of the season, said he did not know. When asked if he thought McDowell would be able to play at all this season, he said he did not know, and that he was not taking either side of it, but he truly did not know right now based on the nature of the injuries, as the Seahawks doctors know it. The Seahawks doctors saw McDowell for the first time on Tuesday evening when he reported here from Michigan, where he had been resting since the ATV accident last month. Suffice to say, this sounds serious. There's a lot of machinations still to go through, a lot of appointments that McDowell is still going to as I speak this afternoon, as a matter of fact. But it's not in the short term. I asked Pete Carroll, is this a long-term situation? He said yes. The other news item of the day, we had our first huge fight of training camp. They happen all the time, but this one was even beyond the raucous standards of a normal Seahawk practice. Frank Clark jumped into a pile of Seahawks already scuffling because of a pass rush brouhaha, and Clark had a flying punch into the face of Germain Ifedi, the offensive tackle, in a fight of the last two top draft picks in the previous 2 years. Ifedi left with what looked like a bloody mouth or face. He was hit near the face with a punch that landed flushly. Ifedi was face down on the ground for a couple moments before trainers helped him up. Pete Carroll had to come from the other end of the field to break it up, and Clark, the defensive end, was escorted to the locker room like a hockey player that had just been ejected from a fight in a hockey game. Carroll afterwards said there's no place for that. Bennett said that Clark crossed the line and that he thinks he should apologize. Clark should apologize to Ifedi. The whole fight started when Rodney Coe, a recently acquired defensive tackle, was engaged with Will Prechek. Prechek kind of pushed him. Coe pushed him so hard he went Prechek through a water bucket on the sidelines near the fans, and that started the whole fight. Justin Britt and Reese Odhiambo went after Coe, and then it was on. And then it was off for a little while and looked like they were going to reset and have the next snap, and Ifedi went after Clark, or a couple of defensive linemen standing next to Clark. Clark then jumped in with his flying punch as if he was off the top rope of a WWF match. Carroll was not happy afterwards. He spoke in as hard and serious a tone as he will speak, and it wasn't very positive about any of it. We'll see if there's any sanction. We won't see. This team will keep it internal whether there's any sanctions against Clark or not. On the field, the offensive line du jour today, Ethan Posek, after Ifedi was helped off injured into the locker room, Posek got his first work at right tackle. The rookie second round pick was the right tackle on all three first, second, and third teams to finish practice after Ifedi got hurt. Before Ifedi got hurt, Ifedi was at the right tackle once again. Ode Abushi was at right guard. Justin Britt was at center. The left guard, as it has been for the last few days, was Reese Odhiambo. Excuse me. This time it was Luke Jokel instead of Reese Odhiambo. Luke Jokel was at left guard today, and the left tackle again was George Fant. So it was Fant and Jokel on the left side, as it was during OTAs and minicamps. Lots to cover, lots of ground to cover on Malik McDowell's situation still to come. It's right now dominating the Seahawks training camp because of the fact that the Seahawks have not offered specifics, and according to Pete Carroll, don't even know whether he's going to be able to play this season or not. I'll be out here again tomorrow for another full pads practice and another hot day at Seahawks training camp. Thanks for watching.